Here's a few things for every one of you to think about today. China's economy is growing 3 times faster than the US economy. As I make this video today, we have an inverted yield curve. It just doesn't seem to want to go away. So yet again, another day with an inverted yield curve. Gold today is at $1,555 as I make this video. Silver is at $19.60, up 37 cents today. These are all indicators that there is big financial trouble coming to America, and it has begun. Yet the Dow Jones is up 237 points today. Based on what? Optimism with Hong Kong, optimism that there's going to be a rate cut this month. Everything in these markets now is based on optimism and hope. But reality is coming. The indicators are telling you that big trouble lies ahead. Make sure you are preparing. It's Wednesday, September 4th, 2019. I want to make a quick video today. I want to go over a few different topics with you. And I want to talk a little bit about the servant sector jobs in America. Servant sector, not service sector, but servant sector. I want to talk about EBT today. Have you noticed that we're seeing EBT being accepted in more and more places? Also, this inverted yield curve right now, this afternoon, I'm looking at the 10-year at 1.46, the 30-year at 1.96, the 3-month at 1.96. It's inverted with the 2, 5, 10, and 30. Yet people are telling you not to worry. This is normal. Don't be concerned. Just trust that everything's going to be okay. If you're listening to these people, you are really jeopardizing your financial future. Be very, very cautious at what is going on. The media is promoting and telling you that everything is okay. Look, we have a continued inverted yield curve that is not going away. China is growing 3 times faster than America. There has been a complete surge in metals. We're watching bond yields continue to plunge. And the economic news across the board, whether it be manufacturing, retail, automotive, mining, you name it, it is falling off of a cliff. So anybody, I think at this point with half a brain can understand that something is very, very wrong in this economy and that we need to stop believing everything we're being told on TV. And we really need to open up our own 2 eyes and our ears and our mind and really look, do our due diligence, our homework, and really investigate what's going on. Things are getting worse, not better. This is not a good economy. This is a very, very unhealthy economy, and it is about to get much, much worse. I also want to talk about the whole Walmart thing that we talked about yesterday. As I said, I've pledged that I will never, ever shop at Walmart unless it's some complete emergency. But Walmart will no longer be getting my money. But we got some more news today. Kroger, who owns all the grocery stores, they are now asking that if one of their stores is in a state that allows open carry, they're asking that those people do not open carry in their grocery stores. And please comment down below. What do you think about that? I know that, some people might be disturbed if they're in Arizona and somebody's open carrying, or if they're in Texas. It doesn't disturb me. I've been to Arizona, Texas, and it doesn't bother me at all. If that state allows that, then I think you should be able to exercise your right. If you want to walk into a grocery store and exercise your right in Arizona or Texas, I think you should be allowed to. I don't think that Kroger can actually enforce this. They can ask that you don't do it as a courtesy, but I don't think they can enforce it. But what does that say about Kroger? They're folding under pressure too. They're trying to make a political statement here. And so I believe now at this point, I will do what I can to avoid even shopping at a Kroger store. Look, if you are against our rights and our freedom, then I think we really need to carefully think about where we are spending our money. When I went to Walmart yesterday here in California, you got to show a driver's license, you got to show a birth certificate, and then they do a Department of Justice background check on you. It costs another $1, And then if you're approved, you can buy ammunition at Walmart. And it just really is irritating to think that here we are, law-abiding citizens, exercising our rights, now being treated like criminals with background checks, driver's licenses, birth certificates, Department of Justice. Yet you can walk over here from some foreign country and nobody is going to ask you for anything. The only thing they're going to do is give you free stuff. But while here in America, we're now the criminal, like we're now the alien. And so now we've got to show our papers and credentials to buy a box of ammo. It's really ludicrous what is happening here in America. But one of the reasons is because we're allowing it to happen. And most people that complain about this are the people that never got up and voted, that just sat on the couch, ate a bag of cheese puffs, and just complained that they're losing more of their rights. But they'd never get off the couch and actually do anything. They just complain. Complaining is not going to get anything fixed. You got to get off the couch. You need to vote. You need to get involved. You need to put some skin in the game. Again, should you be taking your hard-earned cash and shopping at Walmart? No, you should not. Now, should you be shopping at a Kroger store? Now that they're making a political statement saying that we don't want you coming in our stores armed. Think about that. Comment down below. Let me know what you think about that. Should we be boycotting? Should we be taking our money to another store other than a Kroger store now, since they're making a political statement here, siding with the other side? Dow Jones up 237 points today. Please let me know why. Why were the markets up today? Why was the Dow up 237 points? What's really interesting is we're watching gold and silver go up with the market, where it used to be the opposite. When the market would get slammed, the metals would go up and vice versa. Now the metals are just going up whether the market goes up or not. So it's very interesting. But the media was telling us today that the markets were up because Hong Kong leader Carrie Lam says extradition bill has been fully withdrawn. So they're basically, what they're saying is they can't extradite people from Hong Kong back to China. And so that's good news. And so that was enough to help the U.S. markets out. Now, yesterday, when the market got hammered, nobody said anything about Hong Kong. But now that the market's up today, they're blaming it on Hong Kong, and that they won't be extraditing people from Hong Kong to China. So that changes everything. So, I mean, if you believe that, I guess it's as believable as any of the other excuses that they could come up with. Here's an article on Breitbart that I was reading today. 600 Border Patrol agents assaulted in 2019. And so when we look at Hong Kong, another reason of why the Second Amendment is so precious and why it's so important and necessary, because look at what is going to eventually happen to Hong Kong. It will be taken over and forcefully if need be. And those people have absolutely no chance. And so we look at what's coming over into this country from all over the world. 600 Border Patrol agents assaulted in 2019. Just imagine what is walking on the streets of America that we have no idea who they are, where they're from, what they've done. And just think of what these people are capable of doing. If they're assaulting Border Patrol agents, what do you think they would do to your wife, your kids, you? And yet, we shouldn't be protecting ourselves. We shouldn't be exercising our rights. We shouldn't be able to defend ourselves. We're being, told to disarm. It's being politically correct now to be disarmed and rely on the police, rely on the government to keep you safe and protected when they're the ones bringing all this in. So we're bringing these people in from all over the world. We're bringing people in who assault Border Patrol, and yet we're being told to disarm. They're making us out now to be the criminal while they're bringing the criminals in and disarming you. This is very, very dangerous. I want to continue Wall Street Journal today. Coal mine closures shake Wyoming. So yet the market's up today. July 1st, 2 of the area's 12 coal mines abruptly closed, leaving 600 workers without jobs. Dow Jones up today. Another dying industry in America while China builds dozens of coal plants around the world. It really makes you think, are we going to see these trade negotiations come to some sort of agreement, or is China in for the long haul? Are they in for the long haul right now as their economy continues to grow? Not as much as it used to. I truly do believe they've taken some hits, but they're still growing much more than we are. They're manufacturing way more than we are. They own assets throughout the world. They're acquiring and hoarding gold at a crazy number. I believe they are prepared for the long haul here. They are preparing for the future, whereas America is just acquiring more debt. The Americans continue to get more dumbed down, more lazy, acquiring more debt. And the Chinese are looking at the future, and they're telling their citizens to buy gold, to buy precious metals. They're investing in coal mines. They're investing in gold mines. They're investing in silver mines. They're investing, in resorts here in America, golf courses, skyscrapers. The biggest shipping port here in Los Angeles is owned by the Chinese government. They're taking that fiat monopoly money and they are spending it all over the world buying assets. While here in America, we continue just to run up credit cards and live for today, to just party for today, not worry about tomorrow. People aren't worrying about what's going to be left with their kids. The amount of debt here in America that your kids and your grandkids are going to be subject to is going to be absolutely devastating. Ellen Greenspan says it's only a matter of time before negative rates spread to the U.S. This is another reason why you better be holding assets, hard, tangible assets. If we see negative rates here in America, just think of what that's going to do to the dollar. Think about what that's going to do for the person who's trying to save money. If you have a savings account, you're going to be paying the bank for you to lend your money to the bank. You're going to be paying them so that you can lend your money to the bank. It's going to completely devalue the U.S. dollar. And again, it reinforces of why you better be holding hard assets, because these U.S. dollars may be the strongest currencies on the planet right now, but they are the least sickest kid in the hospital. This is the least dirty shirt in the hamper. I believe the U.S. dollar is going to be challenged. I believe it could quite possibly be on borrowed time. Yes, it may be the strongest currency out there because it is the world reserve currency, but things are happening right now across the planet where, China, Russia, many other countries looking for alternatives. People here with cryptos looking for alternatives, gold, silver. Everybody's going to be looking to get out of dollars because your dollars are one of the worst assets you could be holding. Now, look, I believe you have to stack some dollars. You've got to have some dollars on the sidelines, but how long those dollars have buying power is another question. For right now, they have buying power, and you should be buying assets with them. You should have some cash put away for an emergency fund. The dollar will probably be the last currency to go down, but when it goes down, it's going to go down fast, and you better have something to transition to. Wall Street Journal today, overseas investors unload U.S. real estate. This is another sign of the times. In the second quarter, foreign investors pulled out more money out of the U.S. commercial real estate market than they put in. They sold more commercial real estate than they bought in a quarter. And so that's another warning sign. And we right now, I believe, have a very, very fragile real estate market, especially commercial. In my area here, Riverside County, in the Palm Springs area, the Palm Desert area especially, I'm blown away with how many commercial storefronts are vacant, office buildings vacant, retail vacant. They're popping up on a daily basis, and we are going to see more coming. Breitbart today, California's middle class wages rise by 1% in 40 years. And we ask ourselves, why are there 5 cars in the driveway of that house? Why are 6 people living in a 2-bedroom apartment? This is why. Between the ages of 25 and 64 in 2018, median hourly wage here in California was $21.79, 1% higher than in 1979 after adjusting for inflation. $21.50 in 2018 dollars. That's That's what you would be making in 1979. But now you have to take into account of this. You have to take into account that look at the price of real estate today compared to 1979. Look at the price of rent today. Rent is absolutely spiking. And so when you take in these prices of rent and real estate, they're outpacing annual earnings. So it's difficult for families to make ends meet here in California today and many places across the country. Inflation adjusted median household rent rose 16% from 2016 to 2017, while inflation adjusted median annual earnings for individuals working at least 35 hours a week, 50 weeks per year, rose only 2%. In 1988, a good carpenter or a framer would make $45 an hour. A helper would make $25 an hour. Now we have all that slave labor, coming over that, your politicians love because they get all those votes and they get all that cheap labor. So that's come over, and now those jobs that paid $45 an hour, $25 an hour, now they're paying $11 an hour. Okay, so we're talking back 1988 wages of $45 an hour. Same job today, paying $11 because we're bringing in all that slave labor. And some people might go, well, that's great. I can get a job done, cheaper. By having some slave come over here from South America or wherever. But boy, does it kill the standard of living for America. And we just don't think about that. See, people just want to save. Like, I want to go to Walmart and save. I want to use my slave labor and save money, but they don't think about the repercussions. That's eventually your job's going to go to Asia or some other country, and then you don't get to shop at Walmart because you get priced out. And then not supporting that American carpenter, that American worker, but supporting that slave labor, then we get flooded with slave labor. Your standard of living changes, okay? And this is why there's 5 cars parked out in the driveway. That's why there's 6 or 8 people living in a 2-bedroom apartment, because everybody now is going to work for slave wages, because we're letting all the slaves come over, and now we've got all this slave labor here, so everybody now can work for slave wages. And so this is what's happening. We're now turning into these other countries that people are fleeing, and now America is going to turn into a third world country too, because we got to let all this slave labor in here, lower everybody's standard of living, and we're all going to work for $10 or $11 an hour. So welcome to America. Here's some good news on Breitbart. Poll: 2 out of 3 U.S. voters say it's necessary for Trump to fight China on this trade war. So that's some good news. Again, China's economy is growing 3 times faster than the U.S. economy. This is a communist regime that has the second largest economy in the entire world, and they want to be the first. They want to be the biggest economy in the world. They right now have the biggest bank in the entire world. They have the biggest military in the world. They have the biggest population in the world. For a country that literally 50 years ago, half the country didn't have electricity, they've come a long way thanks to the United States of America. And now I believe they are a huge threat to America. And if somebody does not stand up to China right now, it's going to be over. They will be the biggest economy in the world. They will be the most powerful country in the world, and they are a communist regime. Let's never forget that. The communists have killed more people on this planet than anyone. Breitbart, servant class. I want to talk about this. Of course, you've all seen the Uber and Lyft drivers. I see them every day. This is on Breitbart today. Servant class that serves the rich among fastest growing U.S. workforce. How does that make you feel? That's the workforce today. We're going to be serving people. We're going to be serving the wealthy. The servant class jobs like manicurists, pedicurists have grown 114% between 2008 and 2018. Meanwhile, all U.S. jobs have grown 7% in the same period. So we're going to continue to see more Lyft, more Ubers, more manicurists, more pedicurists, massage therapists. Let's go over a list of growth here. Massage therapists up 105%, family therapists 98%, skin care specialists up 93%, animal care takers up 58%, financial advisors up 37%, fitness trainers up 35%, nutritionists up 21%, all jobs 7%. And we're seeing so much inequality in America between the rich and the poor. There is nothing in between. These are not middle class jobs. These jobs, for the most part, going to pay $10 to $15 an hour. The top 0.01% have had 15 times the wage growth since 1979. Continued inequality. Get ready to enjoy your $10 to $12 an hour job. If you're lucky, you're making $15 an hour. Wow, the cost of real estate, the cost of rent, the cost of food, that loaf of bread, meat, chicken, automobiles, everything is going through the roof. And, we look at the percentages of these jobs skyrocketing while the real middle class jobs are just disappearing. It's very, very sad. But how are you going to have a strong country, a strong economy? How are you going to be a world leader when most of your jobs are Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, massage therapists, fitness trainers, nutritionists? I mean, think about that. 11% of our economy is manufacturing, and it's dwindling. It's only 11%. We're not making anything. I wanted to talk about EBT, and I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on EBT, but I've noticed, and please comment down below if you've seen the same thing. Just going to some restaurants, some fast food places in the last couple weeks, I've noticed that they are taking EBT. Some other establishments, which I've never saw those signs before, now accepting EBT. Why are we seeing more acceptance of EBT? What is this telling us about our country? What do we have? About 40 million people on government subsidies like EBT and food stamps. And I believe that we are going to start seeing unemployment rising in America. There will be more unemployed. There will be more people on government subsidies such as WIC, EBT. And more and more places are accepting it, maybe because they need the business. But years ago, I don't believe you could ever use EBT to go to a restaurant. Please comment down below. Let me know. I may be wrong about that, but I have not until really recently noticed EBT accepted at so many restaurants. A sign of the times, I guess. So many people on EBT, but this is a booming economy. This is a healthy economy. But now, all your restaurants now accepting EBT. Illinois financial decay spreads to cities across the state. Massive pension debt, population shrinking, tax burdens jumping, residents' income stagnant. This is all happening in the state of Illinois. But it really looks like it's happening to the entire country here in the United States of America. The article goes on, of the 630 police and fire pension funds in Illinois, 57% had funded ratios lower than 60%. 100 funds had funded ratios below 40%. They're not reforming anything in the state of Illinois. They will just tax everyone. They may enact a 1% statewide tax. They already have the nation's highest taxes. So when the pensions continue to go bust, they're going to look at you, the American citizen, or the person in Illinois, to tax even more than they already are to get themselves out of this. They made these promises to people, paying people $100,000 a year in a pension or $200,000 a year in a pension. All this mathematically impossible to continue. And they knew this, but they made these promises knowing full well that they could never, ever deliver on these promises. And so now, as they're running out of money, as the states are going bankrupt, like Illinois, what do? We'll just tax the citizen to make up for the loss. After Illinois has one of the highest tax rates in the entire country, it's not enough. They're going to continue. And we're going to see this happen in America. Look, pensions across America, most are unfunded. And as we see lower rates, as we go to negative rates, these pensions are going to be in even more trouble. So who do you think they're going to come after to help make up the difference? It's going to be you and I. And I believe this is going to be very, very big trouble for America, because I think America, at least at some point, Americans are going to be sick and tired of being on the hook for all these promises, for all these pensions, for all these bad investments, for all this money wasting. And they always come right back and want to tax you and make you pay for it. Pay for these wars, pay for these bailouts, bailing out automakers, bailing out banks, and now they're going to want you to bail out pensions. Before I wrap this video up today, I want to touch base on one more subject, and that subject is bubbles. We are seeing super inflated bubbles right here, right now in America. We're seeing a stock market bubble. We're seeing a credit market bubble. We're seeing a commercial real estate bubble. We're seeing a residential real estate bubble. We're seeing a bond bubble. And I'm sure there's many other bubbles we could think about, but that's a handful right there. When one of these bubbles pops, the rest of them are going to pop also. And this is going to send America into, I believe, a very serious collapse. These are the most overinflated bubbles we have ever seen in human history on the planet right now. And we are going to experience when these bubbles burst. You need to be preparing mentally, physically, spiritually, and economically. I believe if you are, this is going to soften the blow when these bubbles burst, because no matter how prepared you are, this collapse is going to affect every one of you. No matter how prepared you are or how prepared you think you are, no matter how close you're walking to God, this is going to affect you. You're going to see things that you never thought humanly possible. To the people out there who are not prepared, who think that this is just a fear-mongering, they think that this is just paranoia. To those people out there who think that this can't happen, when it's already starting to happen right now, but they can't see it, these are the people who are going to be living in the most uncertain times. These are the most unprepared people. These are going to be the people who are going to be so shell-shocked, who are going to be in such disbelief when they see what is happening to their country when this collapse happens, when they see socially, what is happening politically, economically, the amount of chaos that will be transpiring on the streets of America, the amount of violence. These people are going to be victimized. They're going to be victimized financially. They're going to be victimized physically. And I don't want anybody out there watching this video to be a victim. This is why it's so imperative to be getting in the right mindset and preparing for this, because you don't want to be shocked. Preparation is not paranoia. The paranoid people are going to be the people who do not prepare because they don't have an emergency plan. They don't have food, water, assets. They don't have that relationship with God. What is going to protect these people? Nothing. These people are going to be stranded. You know, it's like the days of Noah when the ark door closed, when God closed the door. That's it. It's game over. You picked your side. You're going to be on that side or you're going to be on that side. And you better pick the right side, because when that door closes and that rain comes down, it's not going to stop. And for those unprepared people, those disbelievers, you know, the people that like to make fun of us, call us names, they're the ones right now that are scared. And that's why they call you names. That's why they judge you, because they're scared. They're worried about the unknown. They don't want to admit. They don't want to believe it. They want to use hope that it won't happen. They want to trust that the government and the financial institutions won't let it happen. Here's the news flash. The governments, the financial institutions, the central banks are not going to have a say-so, because they're going to lose full control of these bubbles. They're going to lose full control of these markets. They're going to lose full control of these economies, and they're going to be completely out of control. And there's nothing that they're going to be able to do to stop it. In fact, many of these banks, central banks, are going to go down in flames also, just like the people who didn't want to believe that this could happen. Don't be a disbeliever. Do the right thing. Trust your heart. Trust your soul. You know something is very, very wrong here in America. You know that this economy is propped up. It's been injected with low rates and printed money. This economy cannot stand on its own 2 feet unless it has more suppressed interest rates going to zero, or like Ellen Greenspan says, get ready for negative. If this economy is everything you believe it is, How come it cannot stand on its own 2 feet without 0% interest rates, without quantitative easing, and without corporate buybacks? If you believe that this economy can easily stand on its own 2 feet, you are living in the matrix. And I advise that you get out of the matrix right now and save your future, save your family's future, and save your life, because this financial collapse is taking no prisoners. God bless every one of you. Thanks for watching. Make sure you share this video. Have an incredible week.